What's up everyone? I hope you've been having a great day. My name's Evan Olbricht. I'm a professional surf and sports photographer here in San Diego. Today I'm super excited about this video. I'm going to be doing a whole overview of everything that you need to know about in-water surf photography. So going to be talking about all the gear, how much it costs, everything that I use, and just kind of tips and tricks about that. So yeah, let's get right into it. Hopefully this won't be too long of a video showing all this stuff, but first thing I want to talk about is my main camera, which I'm filming on right now, which is the Canon R5. It shoots in 4K 120 video, 45 megapixel photos at 20 frames a second, which is honestly insane. It's a mirrorless camera, so it's very light, very quick, and you can actually see the live photos and videos in camera. So like right now I can see the video, which I think you do as well in DSLRs, but for photos, usually after you take the photo, it shows you what it looks like, where on the mirrorless cameras, it actually shows you what the photo is gonna look like with the lighting and colors right before you take the photo. So super helpful for really any photography, but it cost me around $3,200 when I got it. I don't know if it was on sale, but it was, yeah, $3,200. And right now I've just looked on Amazon and it's $2,900. So definitely an expensive camera. Definitely been in photography for a while now, and I would only recommend getting a camera like this if you've been doing photography for a few years and are trying to take it to the next level and do it professionally and make some money with it, or else the investment is probably not worth it. Because I know there's a lot of cameras, like the camera I was using before this is a Canon 70D, and that thing was under $1,000, and I used that for like 6 years. I sold prints off it, made a lot of money from it. So there's definitely a lot of other options as well, but for right now, this camera works the best for me, has the best image quality, and is honestly just an amazing overall camera. And the next thing I want to talk about is lenses. So the only lens that can actually fit in my housing is the Nifty 50, the 50mm f1.8 lens. I made a whole video on this lens. It is an awesome lens. Got it for under 200 bucks. Yeah, it's just a stud of a lens. And actually my water housing flooded with this lens on, and it was waterproof. So like my camera was saved from that, which is honestly amazing, and the lens is fine. So I don't even know how that happened, but yeah. Cost me under 200 bucks, so would definitely recommend this lens getting into surf photography, especially if that's the only lens that fits in your lens port, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And then the 1-400 is my main from shooting on land, and then I also have a 70-200, which those lenses are definitely a little bit more expensive. And my 1-400 I actually got from my dad, which was super nice because those lenses are pretty expensive, but it's also an EF lens, and then I have an adapter, which also makes it a little less expensive, and I would definitely recommend that unless you're obviously a professional sports photographer and you need that long lens across the field, doing soccer, football, stuff like that, then you definitely do need a lens like that. Next thing I want to talk about, probably the most important, is the water housing itself. So this is an Aquatech water housing for my R5. I think it's like an Aquatech Edge water housing is what it's called. These are one of the best housings on the market by far. I think every professional photographer that I use or watch their stuff uses one of these. And then I also just got a new GoPro mount on here. It's a little skeleton mount. Yeah, this thing's awesome. I could take 4K video with my GoPro on here, which I'll talk about later why that's so important. And then also I can take all my R5 stuff in here, take photo, video, and it's honestly just an insane housing. It's so good. If you're getting into photography, I know these are expensive, but it's definitely worth it. And this one I got for $1,800, but that's also because of the backplate, which was super expensive. So the backplate is much needed because you actually can control everything from in the housing. So as you can see right here, these are all the controls. You can turn the camera on and off. You can literally change the settings from video to photo. You can change the ISO, aperture, almost anything you want. And you kind of just can change the settings of like, oh, let's make this button do this button do this, and you can like customize it for what you do. But honestly, this is so like awesome. It does cost a little bit more because I think the normal set is $1,200 on Aquatech. Might be like 100 bucks off, but I got mine for $1,200 without this, and then I had to pay for this, and it was $1,800. And I think you can get it $1,800 just together at once. But the normal one comes without any controls, but then you basically just have to put it in like sport mode or like just high shutter speed with auto ISO, which does work if you're on a budget, but I would definitely recommend having this if you're trying to shoot video, photos, and change your settings while you're in the water. And then that also comes to our camera ports, which is how you put a lens on. So this just screws right onto here, and then you put a lens on it. So this is why the only lens that works is my 50mm because of the length of this lens port. And each lens port costs a different amount of money. So I obviously have my 24-70, which I'm shooting on right now, which I'd love to use in my housing. And then I also have a 70-200, which I really want to use in my housing. but because it's a zoom gear, you have to get a special zoom gear for inside, and then 2 of these to make it longer. So I think it ends up being like 600 bucks, which I'm like, I don't know if I want to make that investment yet, because I mean, all of these things just add up. So just being able to know that at first, like in this video, just helping to understand that is super important, that, hey, maybe I should get like this lens first and then buy this straight off the bat so I can use other lenses and stuff like that. And make sure, do your research, contact the companies. All these companies like Aquatech, Canon, they're super helpful. Just call them and talk to them, ask them questions. I'm sure they'd love to help you. But biggest thing I'd say is do your own research before, figure out which lenses you need, because I think that's super important. And obviously I will upgrade and get the 70-200 lens port soon, but yeah, definitely costs a lot of money. So gotta make sure it's worth it for a lot of different reasons. All right, next thing I wanna talk about, which I feel like is not talked about a lot, is your swim fins. These are Duff fins. I got these like 6 years ago. They've been amazing. They were like $100, which I was like, oh, that's super expensive, but I've had them for like 5 or 6 years, and I actually lost a pair at the Wedge on Newport Beach, and it was like a super big day, and they just didn't come back up because they were supposed to float, and they just sent me a new pair a couple days later. And these fins are awesome. You could tell there's like scratches and stuff on the bottom from getting thrown around, and these things are awesome. And then I also have these little hooks on here, which I got on Amazon for a couple bucks, and you kind of just wrap it around your ankle, so even if the fins do fly off, you won't lose them, which is super helpful, especially if you're in big waves or you had to swim far out, so your fins don't get like sucked in and all that stuff. Makes it a little bit crazy, but would definitely recommend the fins. They're super comfortable, but also just try on a bunch of fins, see what works out for you, see what's comfortable. But for me, I'd recommend Duff Fin. They've been amazing for me so far, and I know a lot of other photographers use them as well. Next thing I want to talk about, which is why I had a GoPro mount on my housing, is for the GoPro. So this is a GoPro Hero 11 Black. This thing is honestly amazing. I would highly recommend this for surf photography. I actually started out shooting a GoPro Hero 4 Black. It didn't have this screen. I was kind of just like jumping in the waves. Had a little like mount right here, and I was just jumping in, taking burst photos with it. And that's really how I started doing surf photography. I would definitely recommend, if you don't have a big budget, and even if you already have a GoPro, just mess around with it, shoot that in the water. I think it's so important to actually learn the basics of taking photos of videos and just honestly exploring the water, being able to know what's safe, what's not, what waves you can handle, stuff like that. So important and super good to have a GoPro to use that for. And then once you have a housing like me, being able to mount it on top, I think is so important as well, because I get so many good content and videos that I post on this channel, on my Instagram, Reels, YouTube Shorts, stuff like that. Just from having this on my camera, and you can have it like this or even vertical now, since a lot of stuff is obviously vertical, like Reels, Shorts, stuff like that for videos. But most of my YouTube videos, I have it at 4K 120, and I just have it sitting on top of here. And then I also have a little solution stuff. I'm not sure what it's called, but I'll let you guys know, that you put on top of it, and it kind of just makes the water drop off. So then there's no water spots on it as well. And the videos honestly look amazing from here, and the photos, like the technology in these things, like this thing is tiny compared to my hand, and it shoots amazing. I think I got this from Costco for like 300 bucks. So I would definitely recommend. Don't have to get the newest one. They're all insane, and probably like I'll have really small updates as well on the newest versions. So get whatever one you can afford, and definitely have fun with these, mess around with them. I would definitely recommend. I've had GoPros my whole life, and honestly they've been amazing and helped me kind of get into the content world, and have been super nice for me. Alright, so next thing I want to talk about is Wetsuit. So I have a Need Essentials, which is a company you could totally look up. I think they're from Australia, and they don't do any marketing of their products, so their products are pretty cheap, and there's no logos or anything on it. This is a 1mm vest, so it keeps your chest warm, and then it also has a hood right here. So would highly recommend one of these. Also protects your head a little bit, keeps your head warm, and since you're just floating in the water, definitely need a vest. Makes it so much easier, keeps your whole body warm just by having your chest warm, and helps you float a little bit extra. And then I also have this 3/4 suit. This is inside out right now to dry, but this is just like a Rip Curl 3/4 suit I got from an outlet. Probably both of these combined were like 300 bucks, so definitely a nice investment. But I've also had both these for like 2 or 3 years now, and they look totally fine. So I would definitely recommend invest in a nice wetsuit, keep yourself warm, or it's really not going to be comfortable, because I've even had times in these suits where it's in the winter in California, and my like hands are numb, my feet are numb, and I'm like shaking in the water, and I have to get out after like 30-45 minutes, even though the waves are like firing. So would highly recommend getting a nice wetsuit that fits you perfectly and keeps you warm, to make sure you're able to stay out there when the conditions are good for as long as you can. I think that's super important and really kind of sets a nice base for how warm you are, how comfortable you are in the water. Alright, so since we've talked about all my gear, an ideal starter kit, first off, I'd say a GoPro is a great way to start, and then also after the GoPro, kind of just whatever camera you have around you or whatever camera you can afford. I wouldn't recommend buying like an R5 off the bat. This is a huge investment and I do not think it's worth it unless you're actually making money off it and kind of actually know the basics of photography first off, where even with a GoPro, you can kind of learn, take photos, videos, learn how to edit, stuff like that, and then you can kind of level up to a better camera. But first off, I would say use a GoPro, have fun with that, and then for housings, would recommend Aquatech. They've been amazing to me so far. Used them for like 7 years, I think, to the 2 housings that I've had from them. I love them, and then I shoot Canon. I've always shot Canon, so that's kind of why I haven't shot another camera, but I love the colors. Honestly, just Canon overall has been amazing to me. The footage I get and photos I get are just amazing. So would highly recommend Canon. And yeah, that's all I have for the video today. Thanks for watching. I hope this video helped you out. Let me know if you have any comments down below, and also hit the subscribe button. I looked and it said 95% of my viewers are not subscribed, so hit the subscribe button to watch more videos like this. We're building an awesome community here and I'm excited to see where it goes. Thanks for watching and see you next video.